This is a digital training video of the BOURG BSTd twin tower system with rear exit stacker and T-series stitch fold trim and book press. And what we're going to do first of all is we're going to cover the towers, and this is our get acquainted video. It's done by LCE Graphics. You can reach us on the web at lcegraphics.com or call us at 1-800-634-2176. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the buttons on your main touch panel. First, you have your emergency stop. Whenever you push your emergency stop, you'll see the word security pop up on your panel, and then your lights will start to flash intermittently, your red, your stop button, and your run button, as you can see there. Then when it's released, it'll run back into run mode. Whenever you see your lights flashing here, it either means you have a jam code, you have a stop button pushed down, or something's wrong with one of the attachments are not turned on or connected properly. So always look when that happens, you have a jam or some kind of a problem. This is your stop button. What you do is when you're going to stop the machine and you just want to run a complete cycle and finish your set, you push that stop button, and what that does, it completes your set, stitch, folds, trims, and then shuts the machine down. The stop button right above it is emergency stop. If you push one of those on any one of the towers, it shuts the system down immediately, wherever it might be, right in the middle of a run, right, you know, if you've got 10 sheets, you may have only picked up 5, but wherever that is, it'll stop immediately with it sets right in the conveyor. Going further, this is your calibrate button. You see the light flashing. What that's telling you is that you need to calibrate the set that's in the collator. And in order to calibrate, you push the run button, and it'll run the conveyor for a few seconds, and then you push the run button again, and what it'll do is it'll feed the sheets on the bins that have sheets in them, or the bins you've programmed, and then it'll leave it in the stitcher for you, just like this. Then the back jogger and side jogger will push the set into position, and then once you push the manual stitch button, now you see the number 1 pop up on your control panel. Your system calibration is set. Now you're ready to run. When you push run, your calibrate light will go out and the machine will start feeding sets. The button right next to it is your conveyor run button. What that does is manually runs your conveyor. And all that does is run the collator. It won't feed sheets or run the feed belts. But what that does is it allows you to clear a set that might be stuck in the conveyor, like if you have to stop in an emergency and the set is still in the conveyor, or to check and clear the conveyor prior to starting a run. This is your exclude button. What that's for is if you have a bin that's giving you trouble and you don't have time to go in and diagnose and figure out what might be wrong or fix it, you can exclude that bin. In the manual it tells you, I think it's a maximum of 5 bins you're allowed to exclude. The motor button is your motor speed. It's factory defaulted to speed number 3. What you can do to increase it is push the up button, and every time you do it goes up 1 notch, 6, 7, and then back down to 3. And what that does, it actually and then you push enter when you set it where you want it. What that does actually speeds the motor up physically. So now your collator is running faster. What that means is that the sheets are going to come down the conveyor faster, deliver quicker. That is a good feature to increase productivity. However, keep in mind that you don't want to run it any faster than the collator will handle the particular paper that you're running. So it'll depend on what type of paper you're running, whether you have bad curl paper or static issues. Next button over is air. When you push that one, you'll notice you'll have 2 upside down U's. What that stands for is vacuum. And that's in automatic mode. When you raise that, in automatic mode, it raises both towers the same amount. So let's just say you want to increase the vacuum, you would push the up button and it increased to 4, 5, 6. 3 is where it defaults. And once you set the vacuum where you want it, you push enter, and that's done for the vacuum. Now to increase the air, you see where it's going up, like you push the button 2, and now you see a different symbol. It looks like a backward C. What that symbol is for your air blower. If you can picture the air blowing out to the left. All right, now it's set at 2. Again, you can increase by pushing the up arrow on the right hand side of the panel or down arrow to adjust the air. Once you get it set where you want, again you push the enter button and now your air is set. This is your manual stitch and jog button. Anytime you've got a set in your stacker or in your stitcher and you want to process that set, you push the manual stitch button and it'll jog it, stitch the booklet, and send it on down through the process. This is your enter button. Anytime you change any program or enter a quantity, you have to push the enter button, otherwise the computer will not accept it. This is your touchpad with all the different numbers. This is your clear button. If you punch in the wrong number and you want to change it, push clear and it'll erase it. Now, all the other buttons on the right hand side, you have the up and down arrow keys, and those are for raising and lowering things like your motor speed, air and vacuum, and other features in the system. The arrow keys on the right are for raising and lowering the bins. Watch, when you push the button down, the bins go down. When you push the up arrow right on the clear button, right next to the clear button, the bins go up. So that's for raising and lowering. Now, it will only raise and lower the bins you're activated. So right now we've got bins 2 through 7 activated. Those are the only ones that it'll raise up and down. Next, you have your select button. Now what that's for is to select a choice that you've made. For example, we're going to change the program to program 5. And now we're going to clear program 5. All right, program 4 rather. So now we want to select. So if we don't select, we can't change anything. We can't add anything to program 4. So we have to push the select button. The light comes on, starts flashing. And notice it shows you the first bin. Okay, it's asking you which the first bin you want to start with paper. In this case, we're going to put in bin 1. And then we're going to run all the way to bin 10. So we push enter. Now we're going to select the last bin that we have paper in. In this case will be 10. And now we push enter again. So now the collator is programmed to run bins 1 all the way through 10. You can see the green light right here, the top light on the bin. The top indicator light, when that lights up, it tells you that that bin is activated. And we'll get into that later. Okay, so that's your select button. Now we're going to go back to program 2 where we were originally. Now, the total button is, if you want to push that, it tells you what the total that you've run on your set. Your preset is for setting, say you want to run 3,000 sets and have the collator shut off, or 100 sets. If you're trying to batch or anything like that, you can set that at 100 and then preset, insert, go into your manual. We won't have time on this discussion, but that actually allows you to insert sheets. Like if you're collating and you have a sheet on bin 1 and you want to insert it every 50 sets or 20 sets, you can program the collator to do that. Overlap basically adjusts the overlap of your sheets. When you're running collators, the sheets will either come up completely jogged, which would be 0. Every time you push it, it changes. It says 0. That means your set will come out almost jogged. 15 millimeters, centimeters, is how much space now you have on your, spacing. When you push the overlap again, it'll go to 30, 60, 90, 150, and 200. 30 is the factory default. Push enter. Now what the spacing helps you sometimes when you're delivering a large book, like you're running 20 sheets of 80-pound gloss, and that's a heavy, thick booklet. So by increasing the spacing to say 60, you spread that set out a little bit, makes it a little easier delivering it into the stitcher. Now your button here, skip. Now right now in program 2, we're set for skip mode. We have paper in bins 2 through 7, which is 6 bins. So we have a 3 signature set up 2 times. So we've got bins 2, 3, and 4 set up with paper, bins 5, 6, and 7. The way it's set up now, it'll run the paper in bins 2, 3, and 4 until one of the bins runs out of paper. Then it'll automatically shut down and switch to the other bins. Okay, we're going to demonstrate that. Is it 3? Now what we're going to do is we're going to do it in calibrate mode. And we're going to calibrate all 7 sheets. All six sheets. Now when we run, only the top 3 bins will feed. The bottom bins are not feeding. Now what happens when we run out of paper, I'm going to simulate that now in bin 4. Now the machine will go into idle mode for a few seconds. Now turn on the bottom 3 bins and start feeding those. See how they raised up, and now it drops the top bins, and we can load the top bins while we're running the bottom bins. And that can work on one tower up to 5 bins, or if you have 2 towers like in this case, you can do 10 and 10, you can do 8 and 8, just about any configuration you want. You can do 5, 5, 5 and 5. So skip mode allows you to load while you're running and actually increase productivity. So you're only going to lose about 2 or 3 sets in between the skip mode. Now you have your preference mode button, which is this one right here. Now we're not going to go into detail on the preference mode, but basically what that allows you to do is split the towers. Like with a tower like this that has 2 master control systems and a rear exit stacker option, you can select to collate out of the back tower by itself, or collate on both towers to the rear exit stacker, or do both at the same time, where you could run a booklet on tower B into the stitch fold trim, or tower A rather, and then run a collated job into the stacker on tower B at the same time. BOURG it's a unique feature that BOURG has if you have the 2 master towers like this one does. And it also allows you to run either 2 units forward, 2 units back, or split 1 and 1. Now the preference mode has other things to select too. Program mode, also explained in your manual, allows you to program the collator to operate in different functions. Jump is a feature where, for example, if you have program 1 set up to run say 6 sheets on tower A, and then you have tower B set up to run 9 sheets, you can actually push the jump button, and as soon as it finishes running the job on tower A, it switches to tower B automatically and starts feeding it, so that you could actually have 2 separate jobs set up on the collator at the same time. And of course your clear button is strictly for the program system here. That allows you to clear the programs that you have set in here. Right now we're in program 3. You also have an auto program, which we'll discuss on a later video, but those are your buttons panel. Now this control at the bottom, it either speeds up or slows down the collator. Now it doesn't actually speed the collator up, it shortens the distance between the sets. Our motor adjustment actually speeds the collator up, as we discussed before. So if you want to increase or decrease productivity, you simply use this dial to shorten the distance. The idea is to try to get as much sustainable production as possible. You don't want to turn it wide open and then be dealing with jams and so forth. And also your attachments are limited to how many sets you can put out. It is possible for the collator to feed more sets than the attachments can handle, so you have to be careful about that when it comes to adjusting motor speed and so forth. Now we have the separate bin settings. The top light you can see here is illuminated. That one tells you that the bin is activated. The second one down, it shows a little dotted line. Actually, we're going to go to this. Well, actually the back tower has the same setup, but anyway, the second you can shine a light on the second light shows a dotted line, and that means a miss. The next third one down is a double line, and that indicates a double. The fourth one down, it shows a little diagram of the tray. That's your bin empty light. For example, if you're looking at bin 5, if I were to pull the paper away, oops, bin. If I were to pull the paper away, that light would light up, as you can see right there, which tells you that that bin is empty. Now you've got the top switch with, when you turn that off, what that does is it turns off your doubles detect. So if you do have a double, it won't run it. Why do you use that? Well, sometimes what we're running is beyond the limits of the sensor. Now sensors are limited. They won't sometimes read through a heavy sheet, like for example a 10-point chrome coat cover that has solid black printed on both sides, things like that. So there are occasions in which you have to turn off the doubles detect to operate. This bottom switch allows you to select between heavy stock and standard stock. You see there's two lines there, and the symbol of those little triangles is a symbol for your miss and doubles detection. So the thin lines where it's set down is for standard paper, the middle position is set for thick stock, and the bottom position means that your sensors are turned off. Now with this turned off and this turned off, your sensors will not work. The bin, if it runs out of paper or misses a sheet, it will not activate or shut the collator down. Now that covers our the detector system. Now on the side of the collator, you have adjustments. You have adjustments for more and less air. If you look there, you see bin 4. You have a little green slider. Some bins have white ones. And when you slide that over to the left, it increases the air to that bin. To the right, decreases it. And then you see this rod right here. And that rod is actually how you adjust for the different widths of paper. For example, if you're running a narrow sheet, then you would push that rod in like that. And what that does, it shuts off the outside of the manifold, so you're not sucking air where there's no paper. That really helps a lot when you're feeding narrow stock. The small green knob you see right there in the center of your screen, what that one does, it adjusts the height of your stack. You can adjust where the paper stack rides by turning that knob to the left or to the right. Now, inside the bins you can see, I want to show you where your sensors are. If you can see that little black sensor right there in the center of your screen on the far wall, it's got a black wire coming out of it. That is your paper sensor. So if you're having trouble with erratic paper height where it's going up and down and giving you trouble, take a Q-tip and a moist Q-tip. You can use WD-40, and I mean WD-40, okay, not some exotic spray lube you may have laying around. WD-40 is the only one that I know of that's safe. Or just water, moisten it and use it to clean that sensor. Never use alcohol or window cleaners or anything that might refrigerate the plexiglass lens. It'll cause it to have micro cracks. Inside here you see the blower nozzles. You'll see 1, 2, 3 white nozzles in the center of your screen. And in between those nozzles are 2 rubber separators. Now what those do is just hold back the sheet, so when the manifold picks up the sheet, it'll knock back that second sheet if it tries to follow the top sheet down. You typically don't have to adjust these up and down a lot, but sometimes if you're feeding a heavy cover stock, you may, and it's got a little bit of down curl to it, you may find yourself loosening those 2 screws you can see right there and adjusting that up and down. But that's a very rare adjustment that you have to make. Another adjustment is right here behind the back jogger. This is your back jogger assembly. You see it right in the middle of your screen. On the top you'll see the upper eject roller, and then underneath you'll see the lower eject roller. And the lower eject roller is mounted on this back jogger, and you see the back jogger, it goes back and forth like that. Every time a set comes in, it drops back, let the set fall into the stitcher, and then it pushes forward to jog the set nice and straight. On top is your eject roller. You've got 2, one on each side. It's actually a compound roller. On the back here, you've got this little knob. This one right here, you can see that in your picture, right in the center, a little black round knob. It's got a small 3mm set screw in the center of it. You will have to loosen that set screw and turn that adjustment, and what that does is it raises and lowers the eject roller. All you want is a good even pressure on the bottom roller. You want that top roller to drive the bottom roller, because that can actually help you prevent misfeeds and problems on your system. These paper guides can be removed or put in as needed, and what they do is help guide the sheets out into the stitcher, especially have a little bit of an up curl. It keeps those sheets from, getting air underneath them and flying up. Now that pretty much covers it. We've got the door opening right here where you turn your knob and you open the door, and these are all your eject rollers. You've got double eject rollers and your belt, and these need to be cleaned from time to time. We recommend you clean them only with water miscible roller wash. What that is a special roller wash. You can buy it from Anchor products, a lot of different brands, but make sure it's water miscible, mixed 50-50 with water. And that completes the first segment of our operator get acquainted video. We'll have more of these to follow. If you have any questions about our systems, we're here. We answer the phone. You can call us at 352-799-8393, toll free 800-634-2176, or you can contact us through our website at lcegraphics.com. Thank you very much. Bye now.